Okay, I'm actually glad that, I wanted to talk about this topic for a while now. I wanted to discuss this topic for a while and other things kept coming up. So I am so happy I am now going back in my archives and I'm finding videos or finding, material that I had strategically put together that I want to put out. I really want to get a lot of material out there and then I can start putting it together in a logical order, which I have always spoken about, and it's one of the things I absolutely am going to do. So today I'm going to talk about gang stalking math, or the business of gang stalking as I see it. Now, let me put a pin in that. I am not saying that I know all of the factors. So I'm going to be talking about what I have seen in my time, what I have gleaned. This is the type of content that gets me bullied on YouTube. This is the kind of content that I cannot do live because I know that they're going to disrupt me, that a lot of things are going to happen. So let me talk to you about what I have come up with, the business of gang stalking. First of all, gang stalking is a business. You're not just being persecuted because you are a great person. A great number of people who are gang stalked don't really have much to begin with. They're humble people. They're living their life. And like I said, I always think that it's people that are spiritually abundant, people that are on the come up, but not necessarily there yet. So let's talk about the factors involved. So first of all, I think I don't know if gang stalkers, because at least my gang stalkers are not very smart. So I don't know that they have like an accountant sitting down extrapolating this information and putting together a nice solid plan and all that. I don't know that that's how it works. It seems like people that just kind of like, it's street people that just kind of run numbers off the top of their head, if they run them at all. But I will tell you what I think these factors are because I've kind of put it down on paper. The first thing that they need is time to do the job. And I think that they assess how much time it'll take to do the job based on your personality. Are you a person who has low boundaries? Are you a person who has low standards? Are you a person who is going to be easily manipulated? Are you a person who is going to curl in the corner and cry? Or are you a person who's going to be fighting back? Based on your personality, they assess how long it's going to take to do the job. And I think they kind of make that assessment based on historical sort of case studies, I'll call it. People they've gang stalked before. The cost to do the job in that time. So say, for example, they decide, well, you know what? People who behave like you, we typically take them down in 3 months. People who fight back, it's going to take 6 months. People who have familial support, it's going to take 9 months. So they factor in the cost to do that job within that time. And then, of course, they need a profit on top of it, what they want to make out of it. And then that sums up the total that they charge. So essentially, it's going to be like any other job that you do. The cost of doing the job plus the profit. That equals the total that they're going to charge. Simple math, simple formula. Where it gets a little more frothy is the cost of doing the job. Now, in gang stalking you, there's also additional profit that comes from stealing what you have. In my case, it was trying to buy my car back at a very low value, at a very low cost. Trying to get my house under market value, just all kinds of things that they want to do You know, I know situations they want you to run off and abandon excuse me, and abandon everything that you have. So I know situations where one of the lady who bought my house was saying that she got a used Rolex and her grandmother was saying put it in salt. See, my throat's kind of all of a sudden I'm getting a frog voice here. But she was saying she got a used Rolex and her mother was saying put it in salt. So I don't think for one second that they're not people who just say, you know what, I've had enough of it, my life is coming undone, and they get up and they run. They buy a plane ticket and they leave everything and they abandon everything and they don't, you know, take care of themselves and they don't stand up to what's going on. And I think that's what they want to happen. This is why they use a lot of spell work. You know, in my situation, I know that they wanted to make my house into a haunted house. They didn't want the house to sell. They wanted me to lose it to foreclosure, all kinds of things. Okay, so that's where it gets a little bit, the cost of the job. And then, of course, you know, I didn't write this in here, but I want to put this. Additional profit is from things that you lose if they anticipate that you have things that are valuable. So I'm just going to put your valuables here because I'm gonna want to put a nice diagram together when I do upload this. So what is included in the cost of the job? First of all, and most obvious, money for stalkers. I've been trying to assess what they pay stalkers. I have no idea. I have no idea. But they need to put aside something for stalkers. I don't know if they give people $100 a day. It must be more money to follow you around, like to physically get in a car and drive around and follow you. It must be more money than just people who are in the vicinity and just walk by and say something stupid to you. For someone to get in their car to go wherever you're at or follow you on the road or make you uncomfortable, I have no idea. I'm assuming anywhere between $100 to $500. And the only reason I'm saying 500 is because somebody told me years ago that they were following a woman around, a woman and her children, and they said that's because the husband owes money and they want to make sure that the woman doesn't run off. So maybe that's the lie that was told about me in order for people to gang stalk me. Maybe that's what it was. But that's what I was told by somebody who I realize now is a gang stalker. And oddly enough, he's a drug mule. All of these things come to me over time when I really sit back and I'm like, whoa. And people don't come up to you, obviously, and tell you that they're a drug mule, but he was a truck driver. Like, just, there's a lot of things. I'm not going to go into it, but they need, obviously, money for the stalkers. They need money for hackers. And there are different degrees of hackers. There are hackers that are hacking into your modems and your systems and phones and things like that. And then there's people who just kind of manage little things. Like they might have like, you know, a password hacker. They can hack your laptop. They can put keyloggers on and get passwords to other things. But they need the hackers because the hackers break into your system, get access to your social networks, like I tell you. Today, I got a call from a lady I worked with years ago. These people want to know what schools I went to, what jobs I went to. They probably just looked in on my different accounts and they've contacted people and they're bribing people now or begging people or possibly gang stalking people to get in contact with me. So they're doing a shit ton of research on how to get back in my network. And that all comes from hacking and digging. And I'm going to add in here, on top of hackers, I'm also going to add private investigators or PIs to look into you, to look into your past, etc., because that's something that they want to do. Third thing, money for police bribes. Police are on payroll. We all know this. There are incidences where police are gang stalking people. I experienced a little bit of that in the beginning. So police are on payroll. If they don't get paid, they don't roll. So they need money for police. The same police that you bribe today can arrest you tomorrow. As the tables turn, they're like prostitutes. They're gonna save themselves first. Now, I put a pin in that. Not all police are corrupt. Not at all. I have met good officers, and you can feel when you're sitting with a good officer. Those are the ones that they bully to an extreme level. And those people have to think about their families. They have to think about, you know, their spouse and their children and stuff like that. And I'm not making excuses for anyone at all. But I have gone through the spiritual portion of this, and I can tell you, a normal human being with no connection to God, and I mean a really strong connection, is not getting through this. This is tough, and they are not just pulling regular entities. These people, it's like do or die. It's your life or theirs. That's the situation that it's in, and they don't stop, and you can see how persistent they are once they start these jobs. So there's that. Money for landlord evictions, and that is whether it's in your business or your personal residence. So residential or commercial. If you have their job is to destabilize you financially. So they need to get you out of your business lease. They want to take you out, and then they want to make it hard for you to get a lease anywhere else. I've experienced that. They wanted to put me in a situation where I couldn't get any more places that would rent to me. And they made my life a living hell when I got another place. And I've heard so many stories about people that cannot find places to rent. And when they started gang stalking one of my friends, immediately it was like out of the blue, he needed to find a new place. He needed to find a new place for him to stay. So please do think about that. They need money for healthcare harassment, to bribe healthcare professionals, and for harassment of you as a person. I talk about it all the time, and one of the whistleblowers said that there is a loophole in the system where it's like you go and you talk about things that are happening to you, and they misdiagnose you, and all of a sudden it's like you've lost control of your life. You've lost a great degree of control. You can be and I knew this from the beginning. It's like all this push of, do you want health services? No, I want you to look into my case. I want you to look into my case. I didn't tell you anything was wrong with me. They want to help you with the stress of something that's not happening. If it's not happening, then I shouldn't be having any stress. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about looking into that. They don't want to do that. So, but they need money. They bribe these professionals. And there was a girl who was renting in my store. Her name was Candy. And she said she had a dream that she should be a social worker while also wanting to have a shoe business in my store, and also really wanting to do the shoe business, but also wanting to be a social worker. And I think they only want to do that so that they can have people in the system. There are people in the system that are implants. A lot of people go through a lot of hell as soon as they get diagnosed and start getting on drugs. Money for social services to take away people's children. People constantly lose custody of their children in these situations. And I know that this is not gonna come for free. Like, they need money. Like, they sit there and they look at your life and they're like, okay, your children are a certain age, you're this, you're that, and they plan it all out. So money to bribe social services. Money for exes to make claims on children. If you have an ex you're no longer with, they are going to turn that person on you, weaponize that person, and believe me, you are going to go through a battle. Those are 3 things that I got to avoid on my journey, and I am so happy. That is stress that I would not want to have. So I avoided having direct, constant conflict with anyone. I was able to isolate and stay away from people and not be obligated to deal with anyone at all. And I needed that because I was going through enough as it was. So I can only imagine going through spiritual attacks, and on top of it, having to go through custody battles and deal with social workers and be harassed in that way. And believe me, money does not necessarily save you from some of these things. Money to bribe people who overcharge you. Just today, somebody tried to charge me $8,500 to pray for me. I'm not joking, $8,500. People have lost their mind and people are very desperate. It's crazy. They definitely pay people to overcharge you, and that sucks. It sucks because whatever people have stolen from me, I've been charging it back spiritually. I'm gonna need it back with tax, shipping, handling, karma, and everything else. So it's crazy what people do. But you will notice if you are in business, everybody's overcharging for everything and people are trying to take you for a ride. So please do think about that. Money for fake friends. I don't think that the people coming and bribing you are just doing it for no reason. I don't feel like these people coming around are just saying to themselves, they feel like just having friendships with you. And they're just gonna, no, these people are being coached and they're getting something out of it. So I definitely think they're bribing people to be fake friends with you and also to date you. I don't know if I have that, but I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add it right now. Money for exes to return. Any ex that they could find, they've shoved back into my life. And thankfully, that's not very many at all because I rarely date. Like, I'm a person that, you know, I go by myself for years at a time. So, you know, whatever they could find, they've sent it back. And, you know, they don't have anything that I want. They actually, they have something that they owe me, but I'm not interested. Not interested in whoever these people are. Money to bribe judges. In my case, we're dealing with the cartel. They definitely have money to bribe judges, lawyers in pocket, and all of that. Money to avoid insurance claims. I tried to make insurance claims that didn't even pick up off the ground to have my devices assessed and all that sort of thing. So they are bribing all the way through. Money to bribe in apps. They absolutely have someone in Facebook/Instagram because they are playing with my account from the inside. Even when my phone wasn't hacked, my Instagram was heavily, like, you know, dominated in some way. So they have money to pay people on the black market. I should write that down, black market. To pay people on the black market, and that's where they find two hackers. They find people internal at Instagram, and actually the person hacking who I was going through this with, John Ferreira, told me himself he found someone in Australia who works at Instagram, and that's how he got a lot of things done, because it's extremely hard to get an Instagram account deleted. Like, I mean, after you pass away, Instagram does not want to delete accounts. So money for bribes, huge. Money for fake followers, because they're always sending fake followers and all that kind of stuff. Internet trolls and all of that to your accounts. It's like when they can't do it on your accounts because they don't want people to see in your comment section, everywhere you comment, people are going to comment back nonsense, harassing things, or they're going to always be following you, or they're always going to be liking every comment that you make. So like, even my kids will tell me, they're like, Mom, every comment you make has like 200, 500 likes on it. Like, it's very weird. That's kind of thing that happens. Money for cell phone hacking software. iPhones get hacked. Like, all kinds of phones get hacked, and people are like, oh, they can't do it. Yeah, they can. Come on, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Everything can be hacked. They have money for this kind of stuff. They have to budget it in. Money for neighbors to spy on you, to keep an eye on you, to follow you in your vicinity. Because the neighbors are a big one. Everywhere you go, they want people around you. They start almost moving with you. They have people, a girl named Amina Bello. She used to work at one mall that I was in. She started working at the next mall as soon as I moved over here. They have people, it's like they have a whole team of people moving, and it's at the point they're so desperate, they don't have new people. They're not changing people. It's the same people. Amina Bello, she needs to get arrested. All of these people, they're all involved. They're all involved. Like, you're going to know in your situation. You're going to know. Money for accountants. The amount of people that have come out to me, pushed me into, or tried to push me into getting loans, and the loans were fraudulent, and the loans, it's like you owe more than you originally loaned, like way more than you signed up for, even if you were making your payments. Like, these were the reviews I was reading online about the companies. They have their own internal accountants that do taxes for people, and I'm pretty sure the taxes are bogus. etc., 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 etc. I would not trust anything that these people have. They definitely will put any kind of illusion. So if they want to give you business, the business that they're giving you isn't organic. They will make up an event. They will make up something and they'll throw it together. Hey, let's just put together a party and give this person business. It's all an illusion to make you think you're doing well, to inaugurate you into something. And I can give an example of that, but I won't, not in this video. But these are the kind of illusions that they put together to make you feel like you have friends, a family, a home, comfortable, all illusions. And I'm really, some of this stuff I'm referring to my situation. So take it as it applies. Okay, everybody's situation is different. Money for heavy spell work. So bindings, spiritual marriages, root work, destiny swaps, puppet people's minds against you to stop your money, etc. Heavy spell work is not cheap. I don't think it's $8,500 expensive, but it's not cheap. Like, people could charge, like, there's different kinds of readers. Some readers will charge like $20 a reading, some $50, some people charge $500. So there are different types of people for different types of things. Root work is heavy work. The heavier the work, the more people charge. So take that into consideration. But there is heavy spell work involved. The other thing, and I'm hopping ahead here, money for military technology. I've actually seen it myself, the way that they find these contractors that provide technology to the government. They get involved with the contractors, love bomb, they make these deals, they get access to the technology. God knows under what kind of vice or what kind of way they do it, but that's what they do. That's where you get the V2K. That's where you get the dream manipulate, like a lot of it. That's where a lot of it comes from. So, and I'm sure that does not come cheap. I'm sure there are people that they need to pay all up the ladder and down. So there's that. Money for round the clock harassment. That's probably where covens come into play. People whose job it is, like, just as a spiritual worker, an occultist, a witch, to be up all night working on you. And then they probably have people taking shift work, attacking you all day, all hours of the day, out at work, when you come from work, etc., etc. In the car, it's like all day spell work. All day spell work. So I have here so many points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 22 points. And to be honest with you, there are probably more. When I talked about in another video, I said, how do you get out of this without doing too much? And I said, you literally just have to endure and hang in there as long as possible and make sure you stay on your feet. These 22 points that I've just discussed, first of all, you want to avoid some of these ones. So I'm going to put it in a list, go through the list and look at as many of them as you can avoid as humanly possible, because you're going to want to. You don't want to go through all 22 of these things. So that's where I talk about avoid the friendships, avoid dating. You can't avoid the spell work, but you can watch how you spend your money. You can avoid going into the healthcare system. You can avoid, there's a lot of things you can avoid. Social work, they might find reasons to get into your life. You got to do your best. You might have to walk on pins and needles with your kids for a bit, but avoid as much of it as possible. But as they pay money for all of these, you have to understand, when you look at the situation logically, if they thought that they could get your case done in 6 months and it takes 2 years and they keep having to pay for more and more of these things, it takes money out of profit. And once the money is done out of the profit, then they get into an arrears. And, you know, I was joking about it before. I actually have it right here, where I said gang stalkers is lose money, and it was funny to me. But once you get into a position where they're in a loss position, and I'm gonna put this on a document that makes sense. But once you get people into a loss position where they are spending too much, oh my God, and I didn't put money for bribing telecommunications companies. And the reason that they need to do that is money for bank associates that are going to tell them how much money you have, because they're pocket watching. They want to see when you're out of money. They want to put you in a situation where you're on your last dollar. They want you to be on your last human dollar. So you have to think about, look at all of these things. And like I said, so now that puts us at 24. And there's more. There's always more. There's no lengths that they wouldn't go to. They're bribing everybody everywhere. So once it gets to that point that they're out of money and they haven't done the job and they've spent all of it with no results, this is where you put them in a situation where you are not their biggest problem. There is no money. You know, now with my situation, where at the end someone is in poverty, there's no money to bribe police. There's no money to pay for spell work to go to court. There's no money for even eating, even paying for themselves. This is the situation that you have to sit in to endure to get to. And you got to think about it this way. This is I was really excited to do this one because this really brings a lot of the things that I was talking about full circle. Oh, and I had it here. Again, you know, the goal that you want to have is you want to attack their finances by staying happy and alive. And that's not just the finances of, it depends on how much they hate you. In my situation, these people are doing this with a passion. They hate me. The person who's paid for it hates me with a passion, and the person who's spearheading it hates me. And you know, in my readings, that's the King of Pentacles reversed and the Hermit reversed, or the King of Swords reversed and the Hermit reversed. Super hates me. And thank God, they have expended a lot of resources in this situation. I don't think people are doing too well financially, but I have managed to stay happy and alive and better than ever. And that has really attacked their finances. So people who align their self-worth and their self-value to how much money they make or have, that takes a very big toll on them. So there are additional profits that they also, I kind of mentioned this before. Additional profits that they can get is forfeited possessions in your home. So I'd mentioned Rolex watches, but maybe you have designer things and stuff like that that they're salivating on and they cannot wait to get. In my case, no one's touching it. And purchases of fire sale assets. So that can go from being your homes. That can be just all kinds of they want you to lose everything and be on your face. And the third is scams against the victim. And that could just be to take property. That could be to just put you out of money and really make you take a hard fall very fast. These things are orchestrated. They're done underhandedly. And then there's also a fourth one that I want to put here. It's funny because I had the fourth point ready to go. Court cases. Fraudulent court cases where they look into your past. They dig into your past for anything that they can find. They make false reports. They make up stories. In my case, I'm pretty sure they filed paperwork. I'm pretty sure that there are things that they have filed that they're terrified about coming out. So I know somebody else that went through this, and she had to go to court to defend herself from selling drugs. And this was a girl who had a public business. This is a girl, like, even me hearing that, I think is stupid. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but people who sell drugs, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell. This is a girl who was busting her behind for her business, and they kept saying, oh, well, how can someone open a business like this unless they were doing that? And that is something that Prima Lighting, who was in my last location, said about me to everybody in the neighborhood, and said it to my neighbor, who repeated to me, how can she have all these Benzes? I'm going to sue you when I get the chance. I am. get ready. So that is my breakdown of the gang stalking math, or as I'm gonna call it, the business of gang stalking. I hope everybody got something out of it, and just remember, if you hold on, they're gonna run out of profits. Now, it does depend on who's gang stalking you. If it's a situation I've heard of, like the military gang stalking people, their pockets might be a bit deep. So, you know, that might be a different conversation. But how do you hold on? You hold on with God. You hold on with help from your ancestors. You hold on with tapping into spirituality. You hold on with a lot of the sort of healing and energy sort of advice that I've given. You know, and kind of go from there. I know not all of my videos are about hard-hitting things like this, which are more fact-based, but all of it is important. Facts are not going to help you. You can hold on, but if they're sending spell work at you, you're not going to hold on as long. So you need tools to help you hold on. You need advice and encouragement consistently from these kind of pages like mine. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to keep coming on with a lot more of my old content. This is from March 22nd that I wanted to talk about this, and we are now in April, so it's taken me a while, but I'm going to go back and do this stuff and put it together, because there is something that I think is, it excites me every time I think about it, that I want to put together, and I know it's going to help a lot of people. So thank you. Please comment and let me know if this is helpful for you, if it gives you insight. And with my points, if I can think of anything else as I'm writing it, I'm going to add that in, and hope it does something for everyone. Have a great day.